I don't know if you know this about me, but I love tournament arcs. And, well, One Piece finally has one. Let's talk about One Piece. The Straw Hats get to Dressrosa and split off into different groups to drop off Caesar, destroy a factory. They have a lot of plans going on. And when they get to Dressrosa, they do really cool disguises. Yeah. We'll never recognize who it is. Surprisingly, I don't know if the people on this island, Oceana, the toy island, are very gullible, or these disguises are better than we think they are. Because Law just has a mustache. Like, Luffy at least goes full beard with sunglasses. But they... And I think Robin just, like, wears a big hat. She might also have a mustache. It's dumb, but it's the right kind of dumb. And it actually makes Luffy look really cool when he gets to the Coliseum. Or, well, Lucy. Not Luffy. Lucy. But Luffy, being Luffy, he gets himself immediately into trouble on this island because a blind man is playing basically like Russian roulette, and he's betting, and then someone's telling him, he's like, is it white or black? And it would land on the number he said, but the guy would tell him it's black, basically hustling him at this roulette game. But Luffy just strolls on over and says, no, it's white. You win, buddy. You win. Congratulations. Man is not happy that Luffy has strolled in here and ruined his hustle. But the blind man that was getting hustled is a problem. This man has like scars. He's seen some stuff. Got scars in his eyes, and he makes a big crater in the floor. But as we learn later on in this volume, it's Fujitori, and he's a Navy admiral, and he is very powerful. And Luffy also finds out that there is a tournament being held for a devil fruit power. But not just any devil fruit power. Ace's devil fruit power, because we also learn that when it's not even just Logia users, like when a user of a devil fruit power ceases to be, the devil fruit grows back in another part of the world, or another area in the world. And it's been long enough now since Ace, never forget, made his sacrifice, and his devil fruit power has grown back to Flame Fang fruit. So, they are holding a tournament at this Coliseum, and all these hundreds of fighters have come together to get that power. And yes, they have other things. They got to destroy this factory. They got to drop off Caesar. They have other plans here. Luffy forgets all that. He's focused. He's like, oh no, I'm going to go get that. That is mine. And he's like, I can't even get it because I already have my power. I don't want anyone else to have it. I 100% agree. No one deserves that power. It would be crazy if he wins this and just puts it in like a glass on the Thousand Sunny. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that would be cool. And while Luffy is making this decision, a fairy snatches Zoro's sword. So Zoro's off, but going to get his sword from this fairy. He's like, he's a thief. He's not a fairy, he's a thief. And he takes off after him. All the while, Sanji runs into Violet. I did not say this in the beginning, but this island has a reputation for stabby women. The island has a reputation for women that stab their lovers. Sanji is in so much trouble. Oh, Sanji. But really what I think the main focus of this volume is setting up this big Coliseum battle for Ace's power. And he runs into so many people from Skypiea. You guys remember when I did the Skypiea review? And I was like, yeah, it was okay. I'm telling you right now, if this arc makes Skypiea better, that reread's going to be a lot of fun. That's all I'm going to say. And I feel like the more and more I get deeper into this One Piece story, you're going to hear this a lot in these videos of like, that reread's going to be something else. That reread, I feel like this is not a series you can just read once. There's too much information. And too many little things that's like littered throughout. It's almost to the point that I want to read the volume, finish the volume, reread the volume, then do the video. I'm not going to because I kind of like me reading the volume, turn on this camera and going. Because when I say there's a bunch of Skypiea characters, Bellamy is there, and Burgess, Jesus Burgess, who's been around. He was like in the Marine Fort. He's a Blackbeard pirate, which comes into play later Which, listen, I know Doflamingo / Joker, whatever you want to call him, is like the main antagonist in this story, I'm assuming. But if Oda can turn this into Luffy fighting Blackbeard, because Ace and Blackbeard had so much like history together. But like I feel like Doflamingo is for Law. Like I feel like it's Doflamingo and Law. They got this antagonist-protagonist relationship that's really cool. So if Luffy can pivot to Blackbeard, because Burgess is there, hear me out. Bellamy from Skypiea, I don't really know how that's gonna connect. And there's so many more interesting characters. Like you have Rebecca, Cabbage, Carvanadish. I like that Luffy calls him Cabbage. ChinJao, which he has the 12. It reminds me of Bleach a little bit, but he's super interesting because he has history with Garp. Bartolomeo, he's called the Man-Eating Bartolomeo, and in his battle, because how this is spread out is like A block, B block, C block, D block. You know, there's groups because there's so many of them. And these battles are so good. It's like a battle royale. You ever seen wrestling? It's like wrestling. John Cena shows up. No, that would be ridiculous. But this volume is non-stop action, and I loved every minute of it. Because again, I'm a big shonen guy, and I love tournaments. I still think Dark Tournament is one of the best arcs in anime, at least, with Yu Yu Hakusho. But this, man, because not only, and I think this is why it works so well, not only is this like a tournament arc, but there's so many other moving pieces, right? Because we run into Maynard, and he like bodies a guy, but then Bartolomeo gets him, and somebody's talking to a snail, and we don't know who that is. It's kind of like Game of Thrones had a tournament arc. I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I heard there's a lot of like wheeling and dealing and like backdoor deals. And that's what I kind of feel like is going on with this tournament. Because you really don't know, because Oda introduces us to so many characters, the Rebeccas, the Cabbages, Bellamy's there, he's introducing all these other little pieces. Because he could have totally just, Ace's fruit is up for grabs, they're having a tournament, Luffy goes in, and the combatants aren't really meaningful characters. That happens in a lot of manga, where really the tournament, and again, there's hundreds of them, and really only about 10 matter, I think. Who knows? Maybe more. I don't know. Oda could pull this and be like, actually, they all matter. Oda, would you do that to me? You're a genius. I feel like you could do it. If you make me care about 100 characters in like a 3-volume span, you're doing a lot. So then B block happens. And I'm just going to talk about a little bit some of my favorite parts of that. Bellamy being there and having that conversation right before he walks out with Luffy. And he even gives a sinister kind of look when Luffy says, "Did you go back to Skypiea?" He said, "Maybe." He makes it seem like he has went back to Skypiea and everything that Luffy saved is destroyed. If we go back to Skypiea, I knew it was coming because a lot of you guys in the comments were like, this Skypiea arc, when I did the Skypiea review, like, this arc grows later on. And if Oda is dropping hints, I have to catch up first, but I already want to go back and read Skypiea. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. Get current with One Piece first. Then, immediately reread One Piece. Got it. That's a plan. So in B block, we have Bellamy, Bartolomeo, Elizabello II, which is the king, Dharma the tacticianer, and I think like Blue Gilly, who's got the legs. He's got crazy legs that he does some kicks. Again, that's the thing. These fights could have been great fights. They are great fights. But Oda said, you know what I'm also going to do? Like, have twists and turns inside the ring. Because the whole thing is, you either die, you get injured, or you leave. Funny enough, if you get knocked out the ring, there's like giant attacking fish. So it's like pretty much, you get injured, it ain't good for you. It's not good for you, it's not good for you. And when all this fighting was going on, ChinJao, that name is so hard to say, walks over to Lucy and asks about Garp. And Lucy, who is standing next to Cabbage, says, "How do you know my grandpa?" Man, hey, man, supposed to be incognito as Lucy, so Luffy's cover is completely blown. And when this happened, because Cavendish also really wanted to take out Straw Hat Luffy. He has a grudge against the Straw Hats because they took his popularity. Don Jin Joe attacks Luffy. But the thing about it is you can't attack outside the ring or you'll be disqualified. So his grandson stopped the attack and kind of gets broken up. And Cavendish turns to, because he's like, I don't even care, I want Straw Hat Luffy. Luffy's gone. But Luffy's not gone. He's actually jumped out the window and he sees Bellamy struggling and he says, don't give up, you can do this. And that's the thing about Luffy, and I've said it time and time again, he's so hard to hate. Because even Bellamy, I feel like he can hear him. But then after that, we are returned to the fight. And Dharma, the tactician, kind of had this whole plan to turn on all these people that he had protecting the king. But actually, what comes to happen, the king is like, oh, no. He wasn't protecting me. He was protecting everyone from me. And he wipes out the arena in one attack. Just gone. The only one left standing is Bartolomeo. Because this whole time he's been like laying, he's just been hanging out, like not taking anything seriously. And that's why I think he is very, very powerful. And we actually come to find out what his devil fruit power is, which is the barrier fruit. And after the display of the king just wiping the arena clean, Bartolomeo is like, I'll take you out in one attack. Just boop. You're done. And he walks away the victor. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't trust him. He took out Maynard. He has to have something going on with maybe like Blackbeard or whoever is on the snail. I feel like when we find out who is coming from the snail, everything will be answered. But that is pretty much where we leave the Colosseum in this volume. Now, if that was not enough information in this volume, I haven't even talked about the secondary story, but really kind of the main story that's happening with Law. Oof! Law is a genius. So while the Colosseum is going on, Law and Nico Robin and Ussopp are trying to get Caesar to Greenbid, which is where he's going to drop it off, make the trade with Doflamingo, because he quit the Warlords, right? He quit the Warlords. 100%. Definitely quit the Warlords. So they make it to Greenbit, and they see a crashed Marine ship. And Caesar's like, I don't want to be dropped off here. How did the Marines know this was going on? We do a flashback. Law, this is why Law is a genius. His offhanded comment is like, I think we're going to Dressrosa to Smoker at the end of the last arc. He planted that seed for them to come follow them. This man is 12 steps ahead of everybody. Just a heads up. He is 12 steps ahead of you, me, everybody. He's slow, man, Law. But when they are on Greenbit, Nico Robin and Ussopp get taken by the fairies that took Zoro's sword and get captured by them. Which they have like the so-so seed, like they've sewn Robin to the ground and, they had to check her to make sure that she was good. She was safe. She was good. What a scene that was. But the good news for them, they're very gullible. And well, they have taken Ussopp. If we remember, he is one of the greatest fibbers around. And they're like, oh, you're part of the hero? And she's like, here? They mean Ussopp? He loves to fib, so he has probably spun a tale that's going to end up getting them both in big, big trouble, if I had to guess. It never works out for him when he starts lying. So thankfully, they're not going to attack him, and Ussopp has somehow stopped them from getting injured in any way. Who's not as lucky is Law. So how we end this volume is one of the greatest, moments One Piece has ever done. To date. Law goes over the transponder snail. It's Sanji, who is with Violet. He seems like he's in a bad situation, but he's like, you have to evacuate pronto. And Law's like, what's going on? Doflamingo has never quit the 7 Warlords. We have to leave now. It was all a setup. And that's how we end this volume, is Law learning that everything they have done so far. You think, again, I just said this, Law is like 12 steps ahead of everybody. Doflamingo is 13. He's like, no. You're all still playing part of my game. I really enjoyed this volume. I think it had a lot to set up, and it did it in such a great way. And I love tournament arcs. I love what's going on with Luffy over there. And I really like how It could have just been, let's get Luffy into this tournament and sprinkle some characters in and out, and that's the Dressrosa. But to also have this mind game that Law and Doflamingo are playing with each other, Oda, you have outdone yourself. I think every first volume of a new arc is always so tough because it has to set up what's going forward. So I always kind of give it some leniency. I will say that I feel like this volume was really packed, and it was kind of hard for me because I like to kind of go piece by piece by piece, but there was so much going on that I kind of just tried to do like the greatest hits of this volume because there are so many. But I think it really is a testament that it has gotten me so hyped. And on top of that, I think it was just a great shonen action manga in the One Piece world. With Doflamingo never quit the 7 Warlords. And all the Straw Hats have their own little thing going on. And it's all working really well to be like, Luffy's doing this, Frankie's doing this. Nami and them are on the Thousand Sunny, and they're kind of playing with Momo, but they hear a noise at the door. Something's not going to go good for them. But yeah, I really enjoyed this volume, and I'm probably going to go right now to read volume 72. So I'll see you in a minute. Things are starting to amp up in this volume. Violet, probably Stabby, because this island is known for stabby women, works for Doflamingo. Who saw that coming? Just raise your hand. I saw that coming. But Sanji, being a charmer, and his love for women, like his actual love for women, not the creepy, like, scumbag stuff, honestly, that he says about women, actually gets Violet to turn and help him escape. Which is cool to see that Oda is using Sanji, what can come off as like creepy, and honestly is creepy. Sometimes, Sanji, you do go overboard, let's be honest. But using that to actually get him out of a predicament. Which in turn got him into the predicament, but I don't know. I really liked that dynamic of Sanji and Violet. And actually when he meets up with Frankie in front of the toy factory later, she goes off and he's very sad about it. So it's short-lived, but it was really well done. But one of the coolest moments in this volume, bar none, Doflamingo confronts Law on Greenbit Island. Not only Doflamingo, Fujitori is also there. Oof! I love this part. I think Fujitori called down a giant meteor that leaves this crater. Except Law, Doflamingo, and him are still standing in their same spot. They didn't move. Honestly, chills when that happened. Like, I know we're not supposed to like Doflamingo, but him, Fujitori, and Law all come off incredibly cool in this moment. When the crater is around them and they're just all standing in their same place. And another thing going on in Greenbit is Ussopp has lied. And he is now the hero because he's a descendant of Mont Blanc Nomad. I think, and I might be mistaken, but I am 90% sure. If it's 10% wrong, let me know in the comments below, like you always do, because you guys saved me. You are helping me on my journey so much. The best. Right here. I appreciate you so much. He's also from Skypiea, right? Like, the little bits of information that Oda is bringing back from Skypiea that was at this point 10 years ago? Like, not currently, but like 10 years from when this volume was released. Because Skypiea was probably the 3rd arc that happened. But that's the thing what I'm noticing with this arc is he really is bringing Skypiea stuff into it. So I wonder if there is a overarching point to it in the story. Because we're about 2 volumes in now, and like you guys have told me, I think it's 10 volumes long, 90 so chapters or something. But by the end of it, is Skypiea going to be like, oh my god, I have to go back. There was so many things littered in Skypiea, I need to reread it. Because, think about this, we have been through 6 arcs at this point, and he has never super brought back like Skypiea specifically. There's been obviously a little Alabaster, and I do feel like Thriller Bark, Impel Down, Water 7, Marineford, that was all connected to begin with. But Skypiea has kind of been its own thing up until this point. And that's what makes it super interesting that Bellamy is back. Skypiea was mentioned by name. Mont Blanc Nomad, which again, I'm about 90% sure he was also part of Skypiea in some way. That can't be a coincidence. I'm not going crazy. I know, I'm not going crazy. I'm not reading too much into this. I really do think is something going on with Skypiea. I'm so interested about that. But I might be crazy. You guys obviously know. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll find out in the next volume, or the volume after that, or the volume after that. Maybe I'll never know. But I cannot be a coincidence. I feel like Oda does no coincidences. And speaking of Bellamy, he's asked to assassinate Luffy. But he can't do it because he heard Luffy cheer him on when he was hanging outside the window. Bellamy is suddenly having a change of heart of being like, I can't assassinate him. And they're like, no, you assassinate him, you get your dream. You get to be on Doflamingo's squad. And he's having second thoughts about it. I know it happens every arc, but I don't think it's been said enough. Luffy as a character is one of the best characters, definitely in manga and anime and this medium, but I really think in any fiction, that doesn't come off corny when it's like, oh, everyone loves the hero. Everyone falls for the guy. Because he's written, and from what you guys have told me, he's voiced in the anime, so likable and so lovable. But not only that, I think people are really struck by how driven he is and how he's on a mission, he's on a destination, he's going to get there no matter what. I just think it shows the writing of Oda so well that when this stuff happens, almost every arc, you're still buying it every single arc. And we finally find out what's going on with Thousand Sunny because Gilia, who has the art fruit, at first though, I was like, is she turning them into toys? Because we learned that the toys were other people. But Nami, Brook, and Chopper are turned into art pieces. And the drawing style is super unique and super funny in this part of the volume. Like, I really liked the switch between the regular art style and then when they get turned into art, basically. That was really cool. And again, by the end of this volume, I don't know what has happened to them. But I just feel like I should mention it. Gilia has happened, and Nami, Brook, and Chopper are all turned into art pieces, and Momo escapes. I believe. It makes it look like he escapes, because even the Thousand Sunny is transformed into this. So, I don't know what's going on with that, but maybe we'll find out next volume. And then one of the main things that happens in this volume is Block C. Luffy enters the ring. Have I told you guys that I like turn arcs? Do you know that I like when Luffy punches that guy in the face? I don't know if you do, but I do. One of the craziest things that happens, just like I was going back with Bellamy, Luffy befriends Mokey, the bull. And everybody's like, oh, this bull, he's riding it, and they're so happy together. You guys are going to have to help me out with this in the comments. How'd you doing? That does not seem right. We're going with it. Smacks them down. And Luffy obviously made of rubber. But Mokey looks dead. I was like, oh, you killed the bull. No, well, this isn't going to go well for you. And it doesn't. Luffy smacks him down in one punch. Like it's nothing. You don't go after his friends. And Mokey was his friend immediately. They do introduce a bunch of very cool fighters. Like Kelly Funk. Like they're brothers or something. And one of them's a zipper. And the other brother puts on the other brother's skin and becomes this massive fighter because he's like, with my brains and his brawn, because he's kind of like a sweet guy. They're the Wonder Twins of One Piece. They're cooler than the Wonder Twins, but you know what I mean. They work together as a unit. And that was a really cool power to see. Gene the Bandit was a really cool character. They were like throwing knives and Luffy was just dodging them as they were talking about the impel down escapees because the bandit wants to hunt him down. So he was like, and Luffy was just like, yeah, are you really, how are they doing? Because I'm just too, and you could just tell he was not taking it seriously. Like, Gene the Bandit didn't have nothing on him. He was just nonchalant, just having a conversation as he's dodging every attack, not phasing him in the least. But then Don ChinJao comes and wipes out the entire arena. Him and Luffy are the last two standing. And we learn about his past. He could come off as an old like, he even knocked his own grandsons out. He was like, Grandpa, I thought we had a deal. And they're like, hey, man, you just can't talk to him when he's like this. He's too much. Because we learn about his past with Garp. And he used to be like HornDrill ChinJao, or he had a big pointy head. And I think Garp used hockey to smash his horn away. And that's his big thing. Is Garp took my power. He took everything from me. And it's funny because Luffy's like, I can't do anything, but take that up with him. I can't do anything about that. And this battle was so fun because the funny ending is Luffy wins, but he also gives him back his pointy head by hitting him. Genius, Oda. Genius. That was so good. And after this, because the arena is destroyed, they take a break. But Oda does not take a break because we learn that Bartolomeo was there when Luffy was saved by the lightning with Buggy the Clown and everything, and he declared that he was going to be king of the pirates with everybody. Come on! Oda, how do you think of stuff like this? Hey, tell me your secret. I would have never expected it. And Bartolomeo switches 100%. He is fanning over Luffy. He is Luffy's biggest fan. It was a thing I did not see coming. And it is so well done because he's like, there he is. I gotta go say something to him. And then Luffy runs off. He's like, huh? He ran right past me without noticing me. He is absolutely nervous around him. And it was such a fantastic turn for this character that you thought was one way. And I was like, no. You think I'm doing this. I'm actually doing this over here. Oh, I cannot say enough good things about that. And we also learn who's been over the transponders now. It's Blackbeard, and he wants Burgess to win. I knew Blackbeard had something to do with it. I felt it in my bones. I want a Luffy / Blackbeard face-off in this arc. So bad. Like I said, Law has Doflamingo. I really think it's them two that are protagonists and antagonists in this arc. And I think Luffy and Blackbeard could be protagonists and antagonists in this arc. Because here's the thing. Luffy doesn't have the past. I feel like Law and Doflamingo have a past together. Luffy and Blackbeard have a past together. That's a more interesting thing that I think Oda might do instead of it being Luffy and Doflamingo. I just feel like Law versus Doflamingo would be a bigger and makes more sense in the story. I could be crazy. Some of you guys are watching this video right now like, no. No. You're not even close. Fair. You're probably right. And one of the last things that happens in this volume, and this volume ends on such a crazy point for an action-packed meteors striking down, Luffy just killing it in the ring, great battles. The final chapter almost makes me want to cry. So, we know the toys are basically the forgotten. Because they're the forgetters and the forgotten. The toys are the humans that people are forgetting. Luffy gets set up by Rebecca. After buying him food. This is very important. The food is always important when it comes to Luffy. And he kind of breaks out of the setup and stands and she's like, okay, do what you must. And he's like, no, I'm not going to hurt you. You bought me food. We're good. I'm not going to hurt you. And she tells Luffy her backstory. So she is the princess of this island. And her mother was trying to protect her and the soldier that's with Frankie, the one-legged soldier. When I say I was not expecting this chapter in this style volume, it's an understatement. He would leave petals to say that he was there because he could not stay with her, obviously. Because he brought her dead mother, and he took her under her wing, basically became like a father to her. I have a theory about this, and I'll get to that in a minute. I have a lot to say about this. This is crazy. He would leave petals because he couldn't stay with her, so he would go with her, be there in the morning, and leave her at night when she went to sleep. Always there for her, made sure she ate, made sure she survived. And she wants to get the Flame Fruit to destroy Doflamingo and his empire that he's building and save her one-legged soldier. Here's my theory about this. Is it her dad or her grandfather? Because her grandfather used to be the old king. I know I've kind of thrown out a few theories in this section of the video, I'm sorry, but it did leave me a lot to think about because it would make sense. Because if I remember correctly, and I don't have the exact chapter in front of me, we don't really hear about her father specifically, and we hear a little bit about her grandfather, which was the old king. But we don't see them. This soldier who could not save her mother and takes it very personally and says, I couldn't save her, I'm going to save you. That makes me think that it is a family dynamic in that moment. Unfortunately, we don't find out in this volume, and this is going to drive me crazy until I read volume 73. Hopefully it gets answered in volume 73. But we end this volume with Rebecca walking out into the arena because Group B is about to start. To boos, hisses, everything. Just people being jerks. That does not sit well with Luffy. And she's okay with it. Because it's not about everybody. She has her mind focused. Not even getting her kingdom back, I don't think. It's more about destroying Doflamingo and what he stands for. It was such a whiplash to have an emotional chapter like that at the very end, but it sets up volume 73 so well. I have a lot more to say. I'll probably say it in my final thoughts portion at the end of this video, but let's go read volume 73 because great action, great fights, great everything. I really want to know about Rebecca. I am so interested in her backstory, so hopefully volume 73 holds the answers. But yeah, I'll see you in a few seconds. I understand why you guys told me to stop at this volume, at chapter 731. You guys, how can someone stop at chapter 731? I mean, thankfully I have a bunch to read, but I just want to talk about that ending. But I am going to split this volume up into two parts. What happened in the past, heartbreaking, and then what's going on in the present with everybody. This volume was one of the shortest in page numbers out of the three that I've read. But it was packed with the most. I thought the tournament Coliseum stuff had a lot going on. No. This volume was next level, and man, does it get me hyped for chapter 732. Okay, so we find out all the fighters that lost are trapped underground, but we also find out that Ricky, one of the fighters, is actually King Riku. And then we go into the backstory. This backstory is... oh, it's so heartbreaking. The king was set up by Doflamingo, and he was loved by everybody until Doflamingo took control of his body with like this poison string. They were basically puppets, and he has gathered all these townspeople, and when he takes control of the king starts to slaughter his own people, but he's still inside his head. He can see it, he just can't control his body. And then he starts controlling all of his men as well, so they're just slaughtering these innocent, his people. They don't know he's doing this, so he actually turns out to be hated. Thus, why Rebecca is booed when she walks into the stadium at the end of the last volume. Oda! Man! Listen! That's a crazy backstory that I was not expecting. It makes you feel for everyone involved in that, except for Doflamingo. We don't feel anything for Doflamingo. Even though I thought Doflamingo was a cool, stylish character, we feel nothing for that man. We've turned our backs on him. That is one of the best, like it was a horrible thing, but one of the best backstories for a character. And the way Oda draws it really makes you feel for that king, because you can see him slowly, emotionally getting destroyed as he's just slaughtering all these people and attacking him and not being able to control his body. And then when his men also get controlled by Doflamingo, oh, it's heartbreaking. And we find out the reason he did that is so he can come in as the hero and take over, which he's been doing on Dressrosa. He basically has set up his whole tyrannical leadership of this kingdom from the beginning. Again, that's why I think him and Law are such a good combatant, because they are smart. They are two of the smartest characters we have met in One Piece currently up until this point. 100%, no question, in my opinion. Because to watch him be conniving and see him take this king that is well loved and destroy his reputation in one night. He did it in one night. He has truly become, in my opinion, like one of the best antagonists One Piece has had. And one of the smartest For sure. Because a lot of these up until this point has been like, I want this, I just attack. With kind of no plan. Honestly, they've all kind of been like Luffy. Like, no plan, just going in, just head. But he is playing chess. He's moving chess pieces, and it's so fun to read. This volume, again, let me tell you, I can't reiterate. This volume was like, oh, you thought you knew? You thought you knew that? You didn't know that. You didn't know anything. Oda, I'm just going to stop guessing at this point because I have no idea what you do most of the time. I'm just enjoying the ride, to be honest. But no, so Monette, you remember Punk Hazard? Who was going to, like, sacrifice herself for Doflamingo? King fell in love with her. Yeah. Yep. That was the king's wife? It's either wife or lover. They were romantically involved. The bird lady? Are you kidding me? But that's not the only person. The daughter of the king, the princess of Dressrosa, is Violet. The one that Sanji was crushing on. He's got great taste. She's a princess. He loves princesses and mermaids. He loves women. Who saw that coming when you were reading it? I honest answers only. There's no way, right? Like, the first time reading it? No way. Okay, the Ricky thing, like, he didn't really set Ricky up enough for that to be shocking, so that was just a cool reveal. The Monette thing, incredibly shocking. The Violet thing, incredibly shocking. Those two things, there's no way. No way someone saw that coming. I am so impressed if you saw it coming, because I was when I was reading it, I was like, no. What? You're kidding! I think that's what sets Doflamingo apart. Is because you can see that with Monette and Violet, not only does he destroy someone when he takes over, their territory or has a grudge against them, he brings their loved ones in and makes them work for him and, like, either fall in love with him or devote their lives to him, whatever it may be, their loyalty to him. Talking about adding insult to injury. I'm going to destroy your reputation, your kingdom. Also, though, I'm going to take the love of your life, your daughter. I'm taking everything, and they're gonna work for me and to be devoted to me. But that also makes sense why Violet was helping Sanji. Like, it's all coming together, and it's crazy to me that it's only been 3 volumes. We've read 3 volumes, and Oda has already set something up and paid something off. Multiple things, actually. Actually, when we get into the present day stuff, he's paid a lot of things off. One very cool thing that is a theory, but not really. I guarantee it. So, but yeah, that was the past that we went over. Let's get to the present of One Piece, where it's really starting to take off in this volume. So in the present, we learn that Bartolomeo is a huge Strawhat fan. This man has done a 180 on the Strawhats. He was like, now he just... he wants to do anything to help out the next king of the pirates. Mr. Luffy, I will help anything you need me to do. I'm kind of coming around on him. He's kind of a fun character, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, at one point, Luffy's trying to talk to him about some stuff that's going on. He's like, he's too bright. I can't look at him. And he always has a conversation. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, I'm going to do it, Mr. Luffy. And Bellamy's around like, why are you... Don't say it to me, say it to him. He never can look him in the face, and it's such a good joke, and it plays so well in this volume with all of this kind of more serious stuff going around. His character has taken such a left turn since the beginning of this story, and it's really cool. I'm really enjoying his character. I hope he sticks around for a while. So Doflamingo and Law are going at it. Well, Sanji does get his moment. He does have a cool moment. When I hear their screams, that's my cue to protect them. He has a great moment, but Law obviously pops right in, and him and Doflamingo go at it. Law actually says, my alliance, because he tells them to go to Zao and just get away from here. And then he goes, my alliance with the Straw Hats is over from here. Because his whole plan, he's really trying to sacrifice himself. So Kaido is going to take care of Doflamingo. Law is basically like, if I can't do it, he will. Don't know who Kaido is? Never met him. But if Law is saying that he's going to take Doflamingo out, no question, I haven't met Kaido, right? Like, I don't think I have, but it's questionable. But he seems very powerful if Law's like, no question, he's going to take him out. So I'm guessing we're going to meet him soon. And Law also says this is to settle the score from 13 years ago. I want to know. That's what I'm saying. I love their dynamic. I want to know what happened 13 years ago. I have so many questions after this volume. Like the biggest question, well, second biggest, actually. We'll get into the volume is biggest, which we'll get to in a minute. But the second biggest question, it looks like Doflamingo kills Law. There's no way he's dead. One, I'll give you the reason why I don't think he's dead. I kind of did for a second, but there was no big, like, moment. And Law's become enough of a character in One Piece to have a moment that his death would mean something. So I don't think he's gone. And also, we get this image of a panel where somebody is carrying Law. I'm guessing Doflamingo. I kind of think this is a theory. I kind of think it's part of Law's plan. I still think Law has a plan. Maybe he wanted to get captured. Because Ussopp, Frankie, and Robin are still going to take out the factory. Did I even tell you? Rebecca's father is the soldier. I was right about that. I nailed that. That was exciting. That's why he was protecting her. I got one. We got one. I've been right about a lot of things. We got one. I'll take it. Oh, I'll take it. But now that Law has told Nami, Sanji, Momo, all of them on the Thousand Sunny to go to Zao, and they really don't want to go because they want to get Luffy, and they still have Frankie, Usopp, and all of them on the island. But Nami brings up a good point. She goes, we have 3 cards right now. We have the factory, which they kind of have. He's after Momo for some reason, and he's after Caesar. We have 2 of those cards, and that's what Law wants us to do. You don't want his sacrifice to be in vain. He wants to get these other 2 cards when we're playing with 3 cards away from Doflamingo. And Luffy, who's talking to Zoro and Frankie outside the Coliseum because he can't escape from the Coliseum, is like, I agree with you, you're right. But Big Mom's ship appears. And Sanji's like, well, I got a question though before we do this. Permission to engage? And Luffy's like, oh, I already started that fight. Yeah, you're good. They're like, what? And Sanji attacks Big Mom's ship. That moment was so good. So the crew that's attacking the factory actually find out that Sugar, who's protected by this big, there's an image and he just looks like a big guy. She's the one that's turning all these people into toys. And if they take her out, all the toys will become regular and all the memories would flood back and there might be chaos in the streets. It'll help with their mission, which is to destroy the factory. And it's so funny because Frank and Usopp are like, oh, it's a child? Technically she's not because her aging has stopped when she ate the fruit. But she was like, I'm not worried now, let's go. That was a pretty funny moment. Law is maybe dead from Doflamingo. Nami, Momo, Caesar, Sanji are in the middle of a fight now with Big Mom. So that's kind of where we leave the Straw Hats. Let's talk about Luffy. And if this is the case, okay. Let me be very careful with this one. I think Sabo's back. That wasn't careful at all. Hear me out. Okay, so Luffy is trying to get out of the Coliseum, and obviously Bartolomeo and Bellamy. Bellamy's like, listen, I'm not gonna turn my back on Doflamingo, but if you want to follow me, maybe I can help get you out. You don't see this person. Don't know, man, woman, do not know. But he talks to Luffy. And he is very secretive. But Luffy gets out and is with Frankie and Zoro, and they're running. And Luffy, there's this image. I'm gonna put it right on my face. Luffy is crying when he talks to this man or woman. It's a man. It's Sabo. But anyway, and he's running with Zoro and Frankie, and just, I can't believe he's not supposed to be alive. Because this man said, I'm going to get the flame fruit. You know, that's what they were talking about, I think. And the volume ends with the image of the 3 cups. Also, Koala is there from the Fishman Island arc, grown up, working with Sabo. Because, again, it's not said, but it's Sabo. Even the back is like, who's this mysterious person? It's Sabo. Sabo is alive. Oda! Man, You're setting up all these things. You don't have enough going on where you said, you know what I'm going to do? Bring back his basically second brother. After talking about the flame fruits back, I'm going to bring back his second brother. That's enough. Do you not have enough? Do you not have enough? But seriously, you don't show that image without it being Sabo. And with Sabo back, I guess is staying in the Coliseum to win the flame fruit, while Luffy, Frankie, Zoro, and the crew that's going to destroy the factory are going to destroy the factory. This changes so much. This stretch of chapters, 701 to 731, was so fun, but was so emotional in some parts, crazy in others, and I don't think I have been so surprised by twists and turns before. Not just in One Piece, like in fiction, Sabo being back, Monet being part of the love of the king, and then part of Doflamingo, Violet being the princess. There were so many great story beats and twists and turns in this stretch of chapters. I can't say enough good things about it. But again, I feel like in these last few videos that I've done, I've always said this. I have to go read the next volume right now. Oda is really in this groove, I feel like, the last 100 chapters. That not only does he continuously build to something, he's paying stuff off and then building other stuff off of that. He has so many moving pieces and parts and characters right now. I know it can be tiring, and people that are not really reading this or watching this, or maybe just it doesn't consume their lives and they don't think about it all the time. What's that life like? I wouldn't. I'm on the other side where it's all I think about most of the time. But when you get chapters like this, you don't care. You're like, oh yeah, I'll think about it all the time. 100%. Sabo? Koala bringing all the Skypiea characters back? He is fleshing out his world, his characters, and his stories like never before. And the stretch has been amazing. These volumes have been amazing. The world of One Piece has been amazing. I can gush about it and gush about it and gush about it. I am super interested to see what happens with Big Mom. I'm super interested to see what happens with Doflamingo and Law. Luffy is in the picture. Sabo, maybe you've heard, Sabo is back. And it is so funny to me, and I keep going back to this. If you go back to some of my first videos on this, I'm like, I hate when the Straw Hats are separated. What an absolute fool I was. I just didn't know any better, and I apologize. But yes, as always, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I wholeheartedly appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and thank you for coming with me on this One Piece journey. It is so fun. Some of the most fun I have on this channel, and I just really, really appreciate you wholeheartedly. But yeah, that'll do it for this one. On to volume 74. What could possibly happen? Oh, it's so exciting. But yes, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.